I hope that catches the moment and it goes with this live I'm going to do for everybody. So, folks, massive, large X accounts, Facebook accounts, TikTok accounts, and the many tens of thousands of followers going off the rails, telling everybody, and I've had a lot of people message me, especially Canada, the 51st state, about, hey Dave, have you heard about the new EB2 visas, the NIW, National Interest Waiver System in America that Trump is going to roll out any day now? Folks, I'm in an industry of national interest to the United States. I'm a welder, which is one of those skilled trades, and I also have a degree. Now, I have several friends who went through the national interest waiver, and folks, they did that before USMCA. They did that with a doctorate and massive publications. Okay? Under NAFTA, all these things were easily possible for tradespeople like folks of today on TikTok, on X, with tens of thousands of followers. They're in the know, yada, yada, yada. Folks, let me tell you what I know. I'm in the Boilermakers. We're an international union, American-based, Canada adopted, American through and through. This summer, I went to a local 83, Missouri. Pounding, bumping. It looks after 3 states' jurisdiction. They've got 10 years of work. Do you know what happened when I came to that office, knocking on the door? The way I am, just the way I am. I'm a bigger guy. And, I'm banging on the door, right? Buzz me in. Who are you? Oh, I'm Dave Bjorkman. I'm a Boilermaker from Canada, Alberta, 146. Came a long way. Just went to say hi. Maybe take a look at this place. Boom, roll out the red carpet, gifts. Come through the welding shop, which was busy, like no union I've seen in Canada equivalent. Every single booth maxed straight out. Nowhere to stand, nowhere to work. They're maxed straight out. A thing I knew of my Boilermaker Union, Alberta, Canada, about 10 years ago. That's how it was, generally all year long. And that's what they're going through right now. They said, man, you're ticketed, because they run your name, then they bring up, holy smokes, look at all the jobs he's done in Canada. This guy's got tons of experience. We want this guy. Oh, we want to give you a job. But guess what, folks? I won't make it through the EB2 NIW National Interest Waiver Program. Not even close. Unless I'm coming with a scientific degree, published, new technology, or some kind of massive new strategic opportunity for Americans proven, I ain't getting in. I'm sorry. If you thought it was hard under Joe Biden and Trump's first administration, it's 10 times harder now. Sorry. That's a fact. That is a fact. Half the reason Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau on the USMCA first round of negotiations made it nearly impossible for Canadian tradespeople, skilled people, to get into the United States. Two-way street. It was actually a Democrat senator and absolutely Chrystia Freeland, Justin Trudeau. Trap Canadians here. We don't want the migration of skilled trades going to the United States. Got to trap them here. Otherwise, USMCA wasn't going to be signed. And that's what happened. So if anyone thinks from Canada that any of these grifters, these bullshitters, who clearly are lying to all of you. And I'm going to tell you the Republican side now. The God's honest truth from the GOP, the White House Trump administration, where I have two people I've had for a long time that have been very kind to me, and as well as the president and even Elon Musk goes all the way back to that. So let's start with what we know. April of this year, 2025, Donald J. Trump, as you all remember, aligned with Mr. Doge, Elon Musk, very close, attempted to roll out the new EB2 NIW, need skilled foreign workers into the United States, and tagged in this is the GOP and, of course, the Trump administration, where if you think Epstein files were a drop in Trump's polls, roll out that program in America today, and you will see the most negative impact Trump has ever received when he tried to roll out EB2 skilled trade easy access. He got bawled out. If people don't know that, quickly pulled it, never spoke of it ever again. Him and Elon kind of had a tear. And I know because I've been to Texas, I've had a good hard look at Elon Musk's setup there, the company store. I don't think highly of Elon Musk at all. That's just me. I'm not going to go into any more detail about that. If you want to know, there was enough videos about that. Maybe look up some of the posts I've made. I'm Canadian. Elon is too, and he's South African. Doesn't matter. He escaped dismemberment and redesign imposed by the Allies of World War II, aka the United States. Moved on to British Columbia, Canada, a real black spot where Americans don't see into Canada in that respective region, and neither do Russians. It's always been that way. Rest of Canada, open book for American Russia, not BC. Elon was strategically placed there, went to school, ended up in the United States, California, where he went on with all kinds of heavy financial monies from his father, went to school. He got all his stuff. I'm not saying he's not talented, but he's not the genius everybody thinks he is. All that aside, folks, Elon's want of skilled labor to fill his labor gaps in industries he wants to be subsidized from the government, aka the entire Canadian model of mass immigration, bringing in skilled labor in Canada with unemployment rates for youth at 15%, unemployment rates topping out at 8% nationally, is sick, disgusting, and wrong. It's pure evil. And if people don't see that, you're an idiot. And I hate to say that, that's a fact. Now let's look at America. In Trump's first term, rolling out first USMCA, he had unemployment national average 3.9%. Right now, we're well above 4, pivoting 4.4, a whole 0.5%. And you've also seen a rise and climb of youth unemployment in America, 10.8%. Do you know how many Americans work in the United States of America? 163 out of the 320 million, far exceeding, almost doubling Canada's statistics. More than that, when you take a percentage of 10.8%, that's over 2.5 million unemployed Americans 18 to 28 years old. 2.5 million. Do you think those being grifted, those who want to follow false hope, those who want to believe the bullshit artists, which a bunch of these accounts are traced to India, who are conning people out of money, upwards of $2,500 fraudulently, on your hopes and your patheticism and your inability to do any research. So Donald J. Trump, who's got a higher unemployment rate, only 1 year in office, coming on 1 year in January, coming on 1 year in office, has reduced unemployment, but it's still tremendously higher than it was in his first term, which he's dedicating a good portion of his term to get to. He wants to train young Americans, take that 10.8% down to at least 4.5% in youth. At least 4.5%. That means he's got to retrain and qualify in skilled trades where there are tremendous shortages. He's got to do that in the United States at those numbers, which means there aren't going to be any EB2 visas, and there's definitely not going to be any national interest waivers that magically accept mass amount of skilled Canadians. Not going to happen. A good leader, like I can tell you, in Canada's most recent history, in my province, Premier Ralph Klein, from 1993 to 2006, blew Donald J. Trump out of the water on unemployment statistics, youth unemployment. Not only did he destroy the entire history of every Canadian politician that's ever lived in all of Canada, provincially and federally, he's beat a pile of Americans, including Donald J. Trump and his statistics. There's a very old publication on my timeline comparing the two and others great people of America and how this would-be King Ralph in Canada's constitutional monarchy, somehow he resisted the evil, used his crown power to do unbelievable great things. That's how he erased Alberta's debt, because he certainly didn't do it with Alberta Oil. Everybody goes, yeah, he did, Dave, shut up. No, he got jobs and development, but he was doing that on $30 to $35 a barrel oil for almost a majority of his term in office. So high oil prices, he was below what they said was the end under Rachel Notley. And now, clearly at much, much higher prices, Daniel Smith going tits up. But yet Ralph Klein didn't go tits up. In fact, he ballooned the economy. He brought Alberta out of the hole through the lowest unemployment rates in all of Canadian history by a premier. And in fact, he beats Donald J. Trump, who's desperate to match that, because in real economics and in a low unemployment rate transforms the economy of all nations. Anyone with a super low unemployment rate, you've got more tax revenue, you've got more revenue for the government, and less is being put into social services. That was the beauty of Ralph Klein and a legacy he left. Not only did he pay off the debt, and it certainly wasn't from resources, which Canadians are ill on, because states, none of them really have any, none. Texas is nowhere near Alberta, even Alberta, or many other provinces in natural resource girth and expansive availability. Not even close. Illinois and Texas together don't equal Alberta's output in energy. Yet both those are very, very prosperous states who balance their budgets and grow tremendously well. But yet Alberta can't. But it could under Ralph Klein, when he got literally peanuts and debt, we could say a deficit of resource income, but he had employment and a super overtime managed lowest unemployment rate, to the point none of the social services were being utilized at any rate. They are tremendously today. Everyone was working, everyone's paying taxes, everyone's investing in the economy, everyone's earning and doing. That's what Ralph Klein's massive massive successes where Donald J. Trump doesn't even come close to him. Of course, it's national, it's different. I'm just saying, right? 5 million, or sorry, at the time, 3.2 million people versus 342 million people. Big difference. But Donald J. Trump is desperate to get there. He gets it. He's a businessman. He knows that to be deadly accurate and truthful. I'm sorry. Anyone telling you they're going to get you a magic EB2 skilled trades visa through national interest waiver is lying to you. Because there are literally 2.5 million 18 to 28-year-old American youth that need to transition into that, need to go to work. And until Donald J. Trump can take that 10.8 Democrat percentage he inherited, which was actually toppling out just 9 months ago at 12%, so he's getting success, it's going to take him his entire term, which means if you think a skilled trade EB2 visa national interest waiver will be made available to any Canadian, in fact, any trade heavy successful country in the free world into the United States will become a easy path, you're sadly mistaken. It's never been harder than it is today, with the most barriers, including Donald J. Trump himself, the GOP, and the White House Trump administration. They will never entertain that, especially after what they attempted to under Mr. Doge, Elon Musk roll out, and GOP flipped. The American people flipped. If you didn't see that rollout and the massive, mega-sized outpouring of, forget that, you're just like the Dems, Trump ain't rolling it out. And more than that, he has so many programs for the youth transition into all these skilled trades, all of this construction and manufacturing coming back to America, 18 billion investment up to date now, going over the next 4 years. There will be no EB2 visas. There will be no national interest waiver unless you're a doctorate, a proven professional with a published and recorded history, like friends of mine who are published, where you can look them up and there's news stories, publications. This is somebody who went to the high society. They get an NIW. They get an EB2 visa. I'm not nowhere even close. And I can guarantee you, when it comes to the average, I'm that much more than most people, and I've looked into it very, very long time. Donald J. Trump is going to bring down unemployment, which means hundreds of thousands of Americans have to transition into those skilled trades, and literally 2.5 million youth, 18 to 28, have to transition into all of those jobs first before you'll ever see an EB2 visa or an NIW waiver path. The hardest it's ever been in American history for anyone in the world, let alone Canadian right now. And you're still under USMCA, Canadians, and Trump has closed off all trade talks or opening anything, which means good luck. You will wait or be grifted by these people making these presentations, giving them thousands of dollars, scamming you out of money, most of which trace back to India. Even the geeky guy on X with the glasses, the link he has in the company, all strong ties to India, even China. Brutal. Looking to rape, pillage, and plunder those who are desperate, those with high hopes, those who've given up. Your only way forward into America right now, today, everybody, is Canada, the 51st state. Donald J. Trump ain't rolling out EB2 visas giveaway. Free, don't worry. Oh, you got a trade ticket? No problem. And a national interest waiver when he's offered Canada the 51st state. No, you'll all stay here, myself included. We'll all stay here and rot until we convince the masses Canada the 51st state. That is Donald J. Trump's only offer and only thing being rolled out. That's it. You either buy a golden ticket or you've got $250,000 lying around USD to buy or start a business in America, and you better employ 10 Americans. Now, you can get away with 125,000 USD in a depressed community, proven, and you still have to hire 10 Americans. You do that, and you're well on your way. $1 million golden ticket, a 250,000 investment business where you put on the payroll legitimately 10 Americans, which means you're going to have to do that for at least 2 years because you have to file, work a year, then file, and then those results come back. 2 years you maintain that minimum. And then there's the 125,000 in a depressed community, probably high crime rate, going to be ethnic, understand? Those are the only three surefire ways. And I have a friend in Tennessee, he certainly did that way. He certainly did it. He's a welder by trade. He did it that way. And he also did it before USMCA, or at least was well on his way. But he did the, I can invest, I can move my business to America, and I'll hire 10 Americans. He did that. He got it done. Those are the three ways I know. There was another way, if you could prove you're essential, unreplaceable, some kind of growth in America, and people have been getting away with that forever. Well, now that costs big money too. And it's not you who pays. You have to have your sponsored employer pay. And I can tell you, a crap ton of some people who do deserve it and are skilled in those industries have all left those industries, have left USA employment, literally with that rollout, because companies all dropped and said, look, we're not going to pay for you. We're not going to pay upwards of these massive monies. We did you a solid. You got away with a lot of years. You ain't worth it. Bye. See ya. That's what happens. So you can marry an American. You can fall in love, find an American. You can do that if that suits you, or you can get away with that. Good luck. I wouldn't personally do that. I can't pretend, right? I'm not going to lie my way into America. So here I sit. That's reality. That's truth. This is as it really is. And everybody who's selling you on an EB2 or NIW program, they're one and the same, is lying. I know people who've been rotten on that program for more than 10 years waiting and have dropped tens of thousands of dollars. Even have family members who didn't get through that way, were locked out for 5 years, because if you fail, you don't prove your case, they can restrict you 2, 4, or 5 years and they won't listen to you again. And they were successful upon the business venture, dumping everything they have into America, and they finally got it. 6 years of their life, tens of thousands of dollars, and moving their business, personal, and all of it into the United States and going that route. That's after tens of thousands of dollars and many, many years. No guarantees. And I can tell you this, only getting harder and harder and harder. There's no magical path. There's no free system for Canadians. Trump ain't rolling this out, not this year, certainly not next year. And until those unemployment rates go back down to the Republican of yesteryears, aka the first Trump administration, you're not going to see any of that change. Everyone who's telling you that is trying to cash in on your hopelessness, your vulnerability. They're grifting and defrauding you out of money. You're going, idiot. And they're not even most of them Americans. It's Americans going, hey, I got a link to this company, right? It's going to sponsor me on social media. Do you find out it's a company in India or Hong Kong? Wow. But Canadians when they feel hopeless, they always look for a divine savior, somebody out there, and the grifters come along and go, come on, pay me the money. And they will. It's Canada the 51st state, or tits up. No free ride into America. If there was, I'd be the first to publish it. I'd be the first going, yeah. It's not the truth. We're trapped here. 90 percentile. You got the green, golden ticket. You got a massive business that you're ready to invest in, no problem. $250,000 up front, USD, so 300 and some thousand Canadian. And you're going to employ on payroll for 2 years, 10 Americans. Yeah, and the insurance, the business, the value supply chain in the USA. So what are we talking about? Someone with over $1 million, folks. Easier, probably two over 2 years. Are you ready? USD. Are you ready for that? I know I'm nowhere near that. No one's going to fund me for anything like that. Anyhow, that's my video. That's the truth as it really is. Share if you actually care about people, or don't, or put your hands in. No, and you've given thousands of dollars to all these companies because somebody on TikTok or X or Facebook, they're all over on every single platform. And we can go on and on. And yet people still don't research. And there's thousands of likes and loves because it's the needy, the desperate. I'll believe anybody. Most people have already been taken advantage by all these immigration lawyers and companies that are going to do all this work for you. But yet people sit for 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, 10, 15, 40, $80,000 later. Duh! I hate to say it. That's the truth. That's the video. That's absolute. And good luck if you're going to sit around that. Don't worry. Next week, Trump's going to roll it out. And next week, you're going to see. I'm telling you. Common sense. 10.8% youth unemployment in America. 163 million Americans work. What is 10.8% of that just for the youth? Never mind all the rest of the ages, but the youth unemployment. Do you think they're going to allow Canadians to replace those already topped out? Many, many times above what Donald J. Trump's ever accepted before or is willing to, and he's not. He's not willing to. Americans are going to go back to work. He's going the road of what was known as King Ralph Klein, who put everybody to work. He didn't pay off the debt with high oil and Alberta's resources. Sure, he created employment opportunities, but it was the lowest of the low unemployment rates sustained by any region in the history of Canada over more than a decade's time. That's how he did it. Having everybody working, everyone paying their taxes, that's how Ralph Klein did it. Not funding of mass socialism like every other supposed conservative and liberal and NDP out there. The Labour Party. But nobody goes to work when the Labour Party's in office. Wake up. Conservatives may be the best of the evil, but when your claim to fame is 6 to 8% unemployment rates over your entire history and power, and bailouts and socialism driving up unemployment, you're nothing. And now you got the record setter liberals who are always like that, worst of the worst, and then you got NDP. Folks, that's my video. Truth for truth is always there. If you look at the numbers, you'll clearly see there isn't going to be any easy path to the United States for a very, very long time, if ever in Trump's current and last term of office. So I can tell you for sure in the next 3 years, there will be no rescindication of that, and you will not be getting EB2 free skilled trade visas or national interest waivers discharged for anybody, let alone Canadians. It'll be nobody, but especially not Canadians. You're under USMCA. God bless. That's my video. Share, share, share. Get it out there. Be the change. Be the truth. Save as many as you can. God bless. Bye now.